Hello, young math padawans. It's Mrs. Angel with your lesson for today on different angles formed by a transversal. So in this case, we're looking at specific pairs of angles rather than all four angles on the interior and all four angles on the exterior. We're going to be looking at specific pairs of angles on the interior and exterior. It's a lot on vocabulary, so just make sure that you're following along and pause the video if you need more time to write something down or for more time for it to marinate. So grab your notes and let's get started. So let's start off with the important vocabulary that goes along with two lines cut by a transversal and what angles that they form. So as we recall, when you have two lines cut by a transversal, you could think of the space in between as a river, right? And then I like to think about the transversal as like this bridge that goes over the river. So if we recall from our previous lessons, the interior angles are all of the angles that are inside the river. So in this case, it would be angle 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then all of the exterior angles would be on your riverbank, right? Where you've got your grass and your trees and stuff like that. So those are all of your angles on the exterior. So in this case, that would be angles 1, 2, 7, and 8. But in this lesson, we're going to pay very close attention to this bridge, this transversal, and specifically the pairs of angles that are formed around that bridge. So the first angle pairs we're looking at are called alternate interior angles. So we're going to look really closely at this transversal here, this bridge that we're standing on, right? Here we are, we're standing on this bridge. And when we're looking at these types of angles, now we're getting very, very, very specific. So all of these are specific pairs of angles. And if you recall, a pair means we're looking at twos. So the first thing is that this word alternate. Alternate means opposite. So if I'm standing on the bridge, which angles are on opposite sides, meaning one's on the right, one's on the left? Well, you might think, well, like 5 and 6, those are on opposite sides. But alternate actually means fully opposite. Notice how 5 and 6 are both on the same side of the river. They're both there. That means we want the angle that's on the opposite side and on the opposite end of the river. So 6 would be alternate from, for example, 3. So when we're looking at this specific pair, we're looking for alternate angles that are also in the interior. So we're looking at angles that are fully opposite inside the river. So what angles can we eliminate here? We can automatically eliminate all angles in the exterior. We are not looking at those. So what are our alternate interior angles? Well, let's see. If I start with just 3, alternate interior angle would be 6. It's the exact opposite, but it's still inside the river. So we know that one angle pair are angle 3 and angle 6. Another pair of alternate interior angles would be angle 4, because that's ahead of me and to my right. And then if I look back and to my left, I would see angle 5. So angle 4 and angle 5 are also what we would call alternate interior angles. So let's look at our alternate exterior angles. Again, we're paying close attention now to this transversal. We're standing on the bridge, right? And we're looking over on either side. Now notice here, again, we are talking about our alternate angles. So we're looking like front and back, left and right. But now we're talking about the exterior. So what angles can we eliminate? We can eliminate all angles that are inside the river. 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're not concerned with those. Okay, so if I'm standing on the bridge and I look ahead and I see angle 1. Angle 1 is ahead of me and to the left. So what angle would be opposite, alternate from angle 1? That would be behind me and to the right. That would be angle 8. Angle 1 and angle 8 are alternate, meaning opposite, exterior angles. The other pair of exterior angles would be angle 2 and angle 7, because they are opposite from the transversal, from the bridge, and in the exterior. So 2 and 7 are the other pair of alternate exterior angles. The last description that we're looking for are called consecutive. Consecutive interior angles and consecutive exterior angles. So when you see consecutive, I want you to think next to or same side. That's what consecutive means. So again, we're paying close attention to that bridge. We're standing on the bridge. We're looking out over the riverbank. And now we're looking at consecutive interior. So we know what interior means. That means in the river. So we can immediately eliminate 1, 2, 7, and 8. Consecutive means on the same side. So let's say I'm standing on the bridge and I look to the left. I see angle 3. What other angle is also inside the river and on the left side of the bridge? Angle 5. So one pair of consecutive interior angles here would be 3 and 5. Now I'm standing on the bridge and I look to my right and I see angle 4. What other angle is inside the river and on the right of the bridge? That would be angle 6. So my other angles here would be 4 and 6. Those are your consecutive, sometimes called same side, interior angles. Last one, we're looking at a consecutive exterior angles. So again, we're standing on our bridge, the transversal. We're chilling there, looking at either side. And since we're looking at the exterior, that means on the river bank. So we can automatically eliminate all angles inside the river. So I'm standing on the bridge and I look on the riverbank and I see angle 1. What other angle is on the same side of the bridge as angle 1? That's also on the exterior. That would be angle 7. So 1 and 7 are called consecutive exterior angles. They're on the same side of the bridge, but they're on the outside of the river. The other consecutive exterior angles would be angles 2 and 8. 2 and 8 are both on the same side of the bridge, but opposite outside of the river. So let's look at our first actual working example here for what we're trying to do. The directions, we're graphing and labeling each line. We're determining which line is the transversal. We're labeling it T, and if any lines are parallel, and then we're labeling the requested angle pairs. So let's start with the graph. Okay, line A, we have y equals 2x plus 4. So up here would be 2 over 1, y-intercept 0, 4. I'm going to go ahead and graph. So now I'm going to graph line B. Line B has a slope of 7/4 and a y-intercept of -9. So here we go. There is line B. Finally, line C has a slope of -5/3 and a y-intercept of -6. So let's graph line C. Can't go down and to the right, so I'll go up and to the left. Step 2, determine which line is the transversal and label it T, and if any lines are parallel. Well, let's see. A transversal is the line that cuts through two other lines. It's the bridge that goes through the river. From what I can tell, here's our river, which means our bridge is right here in line C. So I'm actually on the other end. I'm going to go ahead and label that our transversal. And down here on the left, which line is the transversal? Line C was our transversal. Are any lines parallel? Well, the only lines that could be parallel, according to this diagram, would be A or B. And in a coordinate plane, we know lines are parallel if they have the same slope. The slope of line A is 2, and the slope of line B is 7/4. Those are not the same, meaning lines A and B are not parallel. So I'm just going to come down here and say none. We do not have any parallel lines. So now that we have our bridge going through our river, it looks like we're labeling the alternate interior angles with numbers 2 and 4, 6 and 8, and alternate exterior angles 1 and 3, 5 and 7. Okay. So let's see here. I'm going to start with the alternate interior. So And I'm just going to place 2 somewhere. Let's see. I'm going to place 2 right there. That looks like a good spot for angle 2. Angle 4 would be right there. And then the next ones are angles 6 and 8. So I'll go ahead and put 6 right there and 8 right there. So we now have our alternate interior angles labeled. Okay, up next it says label the alternate exterior angles. So again, opposite sides of the bridge, but this time on the river bank. 1 and 3, 5 and 7. I'm going to go ahead and say this over here is angle 1. That would be this one here, angle 3. Okay, and then let's say I wanted to make the other angle on the exterior angle 5. That leaves us with 7 right there. And we're done. We've now graphed the lines, labeled the transversal, neither was parallel, and we did the alternate interior and exterior angles. So here we go. Line A, slope here, -1/2, y-intercept 0, 4. I'm going to go ahead and graph. Line B, our slope 3/1, our y-intercept 0, -2. I'm going to go ahead and graph line B. Last up is line C, slope -1/2, y-intercept. What is the y-intercept? Oh, that's just the same as +0. So now I'm going to graph line C. Okay, so which line is our transversal? Which of the lines is cutting through the river? That appears to be line B. So we're going to now go ahead and label this T for transversal. And then do we have any parallel lines? Well, let's see. The only 2 lines that have the potential to be parallel are lines A and C. And remember, parallel lines have the same slope. So let's see. The slope of line A is -1/2. And the slope of line C is also -1/2, so these lines are parallel. So yeah, we have line A and line C. So we're going to use our notation. We would just do a lowercase a is parallel to, and then a lowercase c. Those are our parallel lines. Okay, so now we're going to label our consecutive interior and consecutive exterior. Remember, consecutive means same side of the transversal, side by side, one after the other. So here we go. First, looking at the interior in the river, labeling 2 and 4. So I'm going to zoom in here, and let's say I decide to label this 2. That would be 4. Okay, the other pair of consecutive interior angles would be on the opposite side. So 6, and then I would label that 8. Now we'll do the consecutive exterior angles with 1 and 3, 5 and 7. So again, if I zoom in here, I'm standing on the bridge. If I decide to make that 1, would be down here, angle 3. And then if I decided to make this angle 5, this would be the consecutive angle, exterior angle 7. And there is our graph and completed activity for example 2. Just to quickly recap, remember that transversal is like a bridge going over the water, over the river. And when you're looking at alternate versus consecutive, you have to imagine yourself standing on the bridge. So alternate angles are on complete opposite sides of the transversal. If you're looking at one angle up and to the right, then the alternate angle would be back and to the left, and vice versa. Consecutive, on the other hand, is the opposite of that. It's the same side of the transversal. So if I'm standing on the bridge and I look over to my left, I'm looking at consecutive angles. And if I look over to my right, I'm looking at consecutive angles. That's it for today's lesson. I will see you next time.